Let's talk about the COVID relief bill, immigration, other topics with West Virginia Democratic Senator Joe Manchin. Senator, welcome back to Special Report.
Good to be with you, Brett.
Senator, we've had you on several times. Thank you for coming on and talking to us about a host of things. I've talked to you about the COVID relief bill in the past. Back February 2nd, here's what you told me. They come to you and say, Joe, we need that vote. And it's $1.9 trillion. Are you voting for it?
Brett, what I have told everybody, and I made it very clear from the President of the United States to all of my colleagues, we're going to make this work in a bipartisan way. My friends on the other side are going to have input, and we're going to do something that we agree on.
So what happened? There wasn't a single Republican.
Well, we did agree on a good bit. There was an awful lot of Republican input in that bill that I worked on and the things I was able to put in there, Brett. And basically, when you looked at the tranches that we put in, basically giving money directly to the counties and to the municipalities, putting in infrastructure where they can do broadband and sewer and water, those types of things, keeping the unemployment benefits at $300. These were all things that my Republican colleagues, we talked about. The bill at the end at 1.9 was more than what they could go. I understand that and respect that, but it was a bill that in my state helped so many people in so many different ways, and at the end when we were able to make a few adjustments here and there, it was a bill that I could support.
But are you concerned, well, I have a couple questions about it specifically, are you concerned that a third of this, of the nearly $2 trillion in the bill, won't be spent this year, but next year and beyond?
That was by design. We knew there was an awful lot of money going out the door, and I didn't want money to be, caution to the wind and throwing money away. We got no result, and you can't spend that much at one time. So we put that out into tranches. The state and locals get half of their money on the second in 2022, and then because of the infrastructure, they have until 2024 to complete, to pay for, because we knew that the shovel ready didn't work the way it was supposed to when everybody had good intentions before. So we try to learn from our mistakes, but we're doing things and targeting better than we have done before, and that's what I was hoping that we could get accomplished.
Senator, I hear you that you're going to get some specific things for West Virginia and some of the things you're pushing for, but if you look at the state and local governments at $350 billion, you said you had a problem with that. The expansion for Obamacare subsidies, Amtrak relief funding, $1.7 billion. They've already received $1 billion from the previous COVID spending bill. Arts and humanities, student loan outreach, environmental justice grants, American languages, $10 million. There's stuff in here that Republicans, which is the reason you couldn't get a single Republican vote, had a real problem with.
Well, Brett, I really think it was just the total overall amount. I thought, I would have liked to have gotten a bill that we could have done like we've done before with 90 votes or so. I believe we could have been a bill, hopefully, in that 1.4, 1.5 range, but that wasn't to be. And at the end of the day, you had to look at basically what we were doing to help America, helping different people throughout this country, and trying to get the country back on its feet. The biggest thing is, Brett, that this economy, we got to get people back ready to go to work. That's what we were working on. And they wanted to raise those rates. We thought at $300 is helpful. It continues a seamless transition. People don't have to wait. And we're hoping they're ready to get up and go, because we think by July, the things are going to really go. And if you don't have a workforce that's ready to go, you got a problem there. So we're hoping for that. And also the direction that we pointed this in, you said, well, we target it. And I said, we got to target it and make sure that the people that need the help are getting the help. And that's what they have done here. This is a big lift as far as child tax credits, but it is one thing that we've been able to see that can lift children out of poverty. We just got to make sure that the children get the use out of it.
Okay. The other thing we talked about back in February 2nd was the filibuster and where you stood. Here's what you said to me, SR 212, about that. Two questions here. One, under what conditions would you vote to end the filibuster?
I don't think there is any.
Sinema and yourself, you're both public, but are there other Democrats you know of that would
not
vote to bust up the filibuster?
I think there is. I really do.
All right, so then this weekend, you told Fox News Sunday this about the filibuster.
The filibuster should be painful. It really should be painful, and we've made it more comfortable over the years. Not intentionally, maybe it just evolved into that. Maybe it has to be more painful. Maybe you have to stand there.
So what does that mean?
Well, basically, no. First of all, well, you have to look at everything you can, because we have evolved. And from evolving is this: I will never forsake my belief that the minority should have input. They should be involved in this process. And reconciliation does not give them much chance. I've been on the minority and in the majority, Bret, and I can tell you the Senate was designed for the minority's input. No
but is
different.
there nuance in your statement? Is there nuance in that answer?
There's so many different ways you can look at that. You can look at it as, what's the pain? You had Jimmy Stewart, well, Mr. Smith comes to Washington. This talking filibusters, you had that. You had other things to where people had to be present when they basically announced that they were going to filibuster. And it had to be the pain of being there, not just saying it from your office and calling down saying, I'm against that, and let the good times roll because you don't have to be present. So many things that we can do, but you have to give the minority the ability to object or involve themselves.
But still 60 votes. You're not taking it down to a different bar.
No. I have not. And will not on that. No, 60 vote. But there's different ways to get to that 60 vote, and people have to make sure that they're willing to show them. And it'd be great, don't you think, if someone was down there telling you why they're objecting? If I was in the minority, I'm telling you, I'm objecting to something that the majority wants, and I should be able to speak.
I'll just say, Senator, different people hear different things in what you're saying here. And you know, is there something like specific issues that you drop filibuster and others that you don't?
No.
Or are you kind of saying this is your deal? 60 votes.
The only way you drop the filibuster is when you go to reconciliation, budget reconciliation, and then if you got rid of the Byrd rule, you would really let caution to the wind. We have not done that. The parliamentarian ruled. When they rule, that's what we're going to protect that rule from the parliamentarian, to protect the Byrd rule so they can't come around the back and get rid of the filibuster. The 60-vote filibuster is something that we believe in. And they're saying, well, you know, it's not always been 60. It was 67 at one time. It was a standing, basically, debate filibuster, so many different ways. But right now we have a 60-vote threshold, and I haven't seen anything that would improve on allowing the minority to participate. I want to make sure the minority can participate.
Here's how The Atlantic put it. The trend in the Senate is to make exceptions to the filibuster rule rather than to eliminate it. If an essential bill comes along and Manchin wants it to pass, an exception can be carved out to fit the circumstances and get the job done. Politically, this path is typical of Manchin because it keeps his options open. With no filibuster, Manchin might have to be the 50th vote power that commentators are so eager to assign him, but he would also be on the spot for every bill. With the filibuster still nominally in force, the GOP can do all the work on his right flank while he appeals for consensus. So again, it seems like Democrats are seeing some light here, that they are going to open up some legislation and you're going to be on board.
Yeah, everybody's seeing what they want to see, I guess. I can't explain why they're reading into it that I am going to protect the filibuster. Why in the world do we have 2 senators for every state, no matter if you got 40 million people in your state or if you have 700,000 people, but you have the same representation? The Senate was designed, Bret, to be different, and we are different. Everybody has input. Doesn't matter how big you are or what majority you're in, the minority has to have input, and I'm going to protect that to the best of my ability. So I don't know where they're coming from and why they're assuming so many different things. It's not an envious position to be in. I can assure you, I didn't lobby for this. And can you imagine if we ran the whole Senate based on a 50-50 tie right now, how horrible that would be?
Well, I guess some of them look at what you said about being bipartisan on the COVID relief bill, and it didn't happen. And then you did bipartisan amendments, and you did this vote-a-rama, and you did some bipartisan talking, but in the end, you voted for Chuck Schumer's amendment that kind of erased everything that had happened before. I guess there's some cynicism about the bipartisan action that you're talking about.
You're talking on the first vote-a-rama we had.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was horrible what had happened. That is horrible what had happened. And I told them, that'll never happen again. I'll never be in that position again where that happens and they do what they call a wraparound and scrub. No. You didn't see that happening on the second one, did you?
No.
Okay. And these things aren't going to happen. No. Yeah, that's not going to happen.
So you're going to stand firm?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I think everybody knows that. I want to work, Bret, we got to bring people together. We really
I've got a couple more questions for you. If you'll just hang around after this quick break.